Hello and welcome to my June favourites video. In this video I'm going to be sharing with you some of the supplies that I've been using and loving during the month of June. So to start with, we're going to have a look at my greens palette. We have seen this obviously in a recent video, but what I didn't do was actually swatch it out properly so you could really see the variety of colours properly and really what they can do, because you can't get much of an idea from these tiny little swatches. This is okay for me when I'm working, but I think it would be nice to swatch these out properly. So what I've done is I've already prepared this sheet. On it, it has all of the colours in order, in the same order that they're in the palette. All of the brands are written down here, all of the names of the colours, and where applicable I've written the pigment numbers as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to swatch this out nicely so you can really see what these colours can do and how they look. So before I start, I'd just like to show you what I pre-wet my paints with. I use this little dropper, it's a little glass bottle, the little dropper that I got from Jackson's Art, and I just drop a bit on each pan of paint and it just reactivates them. I give it a couple of minutes and then they reactivate nicely and they're easier to work with. So here they are, they're pretty much dry now and you can see just how beautiful they all look. Of course, everyone's idea of what's green and what isn't differs, and I guess you could say, strictly speaking, that Phthalo turquoise isn't a green, but it does contain a green pigment. It contains PG36, and to me it's a very greenish blue, I guess you could say, and the same for the Schmincke Horadam forest blue. To me this has a real look of green about it, and it is called forest blue, so I think that this is the intention. It contains PB36 and PBK11, so that's a blue pigment and a black pigment, so you get this amazing granulating effect. Yeah, that's one of their super granulating colours, or special edition granulating. I'm never sure quite what they're called, but I love those. I have, I think, 3 different colours from that range, the range of granulating colours. So the other ones along the top row here, we have the Daniel Smith Fuchsite, lovely soft minty green with a very, very slight shimmer to it. The Daniel Smith Amazonite, I love the way that one separates when the water is added. It looks so beautiful, creates a really nice texture. And the Winsor & Newton Professional Winsor Green Blue shade. This is PG7, super bright. I don't know whether the camera is doing it justice, but that's a lovely one to have in there. It works well, I think, with these more earthy, darker kind of greens. It's nice to have something that's a little bit brighter. So here we go on to the Roman Schmal Green Earth. This is PG23. Lovely natural mid-green colour. I really, really like that. I've actually ordered some more Roman Schmal paints because I've been so impressed with the ones I have, so they'll be coming up in a little mini art haul soon. I spent some more of my Jackson's affiliate credit on them, so I'll be sharing those with you hopefully later this week. The next one along, we have a Daniel Smith Sap Green. Now this is unusual for me because I tend to generally like bluish greens and grey greens. I haven't traditionally been into yellow greens, but I kind of really like the way that greens look together, the different shades of green, and so I thought my palette needs to have at least a couple of yellowish greens. So I chose the Daniel Smith Sap Green because it's such a pretty colour. That's made with 3 pigments, PO48, PY150 and PG7. I'm trying to remember to say the pigments this time because somebody said that I didn't mention them last time, and I know that some of you like to know that information. So the next one is something I mixed up myself. This is the Daniel Smith Lemon Yellow PY175 with Zoisite, and it makes this amazing, vibrant, granulating yellowish green. I just felt like this palette needed something like that, so I tried out several different mixes in my other video, and this is the one that I liked the most for this particular palette. So along the bottom row we have the Schmincke Horadam Chromium Oxide Green PG17. Really nice, almost opaque if applied thickly, but yeah, really nice colour, very nice sort of mid-green, very natural colour. And then the Cobalt Green Dark Schmincke Horadam PG26. This has been a favourite of mine for a little while now. This is one that's in my main palette. Absolutely beautiful colour. The Daniel Smith Rare Green Earth PG23. This is quite different from the Roman Schmal Green Earth. This is much more of a greyish green. They're both PG23, but it's amazing how they look so different. A recent purchase is the Schmincke Horadam Perylene Green, PBK31. Absolutely stunning Perylene green, this one. Such an amazing depth to this colour. I love it. I haven't experimented with it that much at the moment. I did create a painting for the video I did on this palette where I used it for the background, but I want to do so much more with this colour. I love it. And the last one is the Daniel Smith Zoisite. This kind of very, very granulating textured grey green. The way I put this together is I decided I wanted to do it, and I just looked for all of the tubes of green paint I currently had and then swatched them out roughly and decided which ones were going to go in the palette, which ones work together, and so I had a nice variety. I didn't specifically go out and buy certain greens to go in this palette. This came about because I basically had bought some green paints and loved the way they looked together and just thought, I'm going to make a greens palette. So then I used whatever I had. So yeah, there's probably a lot more I could add to this palette. Whether it will change or expand, I don't know. It may well do in the future. But for now, I'm really, really happy with how that looks, and it's very inspiring to me to see them all laid out like that. While we're on the subject of watercolours, something else I'm loving this month is this Fabriano Artistico watercolour paper. Now this is the 640 GSM or £300 paper. You can see just how thick that is. It doesn't buckle when you work on it. It stays nice and flat. It's the most incredible surface to work on. For me, this is the perfect kind of watercolour paper because it's not too rough. So it has this slight texture. Hopefully the camera is picking that up so you can see. But yeah, it just holds the paint really well. It's a joy to work on. I sometimes use slightly rougher textured papers. It all depends on the look I'm going for. But with detailed work, it's really good to have something like this because it's not too rough, so it's easy to work on. It also has these lovely deckled edges. Bought 2 really big sheets of this from Jackson's Art I think they're 30 by 22 inches, and I've cut them up into smaller sizes. So I've actually decided to leave the deckled edge, and I'll work on this paper this way around. In fact, I can show you one that I've already worked on that was exactly like this, so you can see how it looks when it actually has a painting on it. Hold on. In fact, I have two. I've forgotten that I actually have two like this. So all of these have been cut so that I leave the deckled edge at the bottom, and you can see just how gorgeous the watercolour looks on this paper. So these two were for my recent shop update that happened, I think, a couple of nights ago, and yeah, I sold everything in the update, which was lovely. So these will be off to their new home soon. But yes, you saw me working on this one in one of the recent videos. This was painted with the A Gallo Naturale 1 watercolour palette, and this one was actually watercolour and a little bit of acrylic ink and gouache as well for those little bushes. But yes, this is what this paper looks like. As you can see, it stays nice and flat. Really nice heavyweight paper, very good quality, 100% cotton. So yeah, Fabriano Artistico 640 GSM cold press paper. My current favourite watercolour paper, alongside the Canson Heritage paper, which we will talk about in another video. Another thing I'm loving working with this month is the Jackson's own brand Artist Acrylic Colour. I don't have many different colours, but I'm really enjoying working with the ones I do have. This Indian red is a particularly gorgeous colour. I'll just open it up so you can have a look. I'm not going to swatch it, but you can just see, hopefully, how lovely that is. It says on the tube, combining intense high quality pigments with the finest acrylic resin, brushes out perfectly flat with the full body required for impasto works. I'm really impressed with this. They're reasonably priced. I think the design of them is absolutely gorgeous. Not that that impacts the quality of them or their performance at all, but they do look really, really nice in my art cart. I can't deny the fact that I just love good design, and this is really nicely designed. Anyway, they're definitely worth trying if you're into acrylic painting. They're reasonably priced, and I've been really impressed with them so far. So those of you who watched my coloured pencil storage video will have seen this, but I just wanted to tell you that I honestly believe this is one of the best purchases I've made recently. I am loving this pencil case. It is a real chunky one, as you can see. I've unzipped it all so that you don't have to put up with endless zipper noises, because it has 4 zipped compartments, and I'm going to show you what it looks like inside. So I've rearranged all of my pencils. Prior to this, they were in a tin. So I basically just had a tin, and every time I needed to use them, I would have to go through the tin. I'd have to pull loads out. I didn't know where a particular colour was. It was completely impractical, and it wasn't very good either at protecting the pencils. So when you're spending, say for example, on the Derwent Lightfast or the Luminance, these are all like £3 or more per pencil. So yeah, you need to be protecting these. So this little case seems to protect them beautifully. It holds them really, really tightly in there. They're a very snug fit, these little elastic holders. So they stay put. As you can see, I can tip it up and they won't fall out. And yeah, I have used up nearly 3 compartments in here. I have 1 space there. And then the final compartment I have a few spaces in. And this also has, by the way, some slightly larger elastic holders, so you can use these for erasers, sharpeners. If you had like marker pens or something, you might want to pop something in there. It didn't cost that much. It was just under £17, and I got it from Amazon, and it has been a lifesaver for my pencils. I love the fact that they're all laid out in colour order. I mean, there are lots of different ways you could organise your pencil collection. The way that I have done the colours just works with my brain, and everyone has a different way of doing things. Some people might like to separate them up into different brands, other people might want to separate them up into water soluble and non-water soluble. I've decided to do it by colour, and as I said, just how my brain happens to work. It will be fantastic for when I travel too, so that's another bonus. And it has honestly been one of my favourite purchases from the past month. So for the last thing I'd like to show you this month, I've had to move onto the studio floor because this is so big that there's no way this is going to fit on the desk, especially when I open it out. I've got too many other things on the desk at the moment. This beautiful book is Botanicum. It was given to me for my birthday by my friend Angelique, and it is just absolutely stunning, and I wanted to share it with you because, well, I think that probably a lot of you are going to find it really inspiring too. Just look at those end papers. I'm sorry, it's also getting very dark in here. It's gone very stormy outside again, even though we're in early July. And I've had to put the filming light on, but because it's getting dark, this might be slightly grainy footage, I hope not. But I'm just going to show you quickly the inside of this book. The illustrations are so inspiring and completely stunning. This is a great reference book as well for anyone who's interested in either plants or botanical painting, botanical artwork, whether you want to do it yourself or whether you're just interested in it in general. But you see how beautifully illustrated it is. So this is a perfect reference book for the studio. I could just get so much inspiration from this, and obviously with my greens palette I am thinking about potentially not just using it for landscapes and birds, but also for possibly some botanical paintings. So there we go. Gosh, that's lovely. Look at that, the detail. So it has so much information about so many different plants, and yeah, I just absolutely loved it. When I opened it up, I had seen this book before, but I hadn't bought it, and I thought about it. So when I opened it up and saw it was this, I was just so pleased. So thank you, Angelique, for that gorgeous present. It will be treasured. So from an increasingly dark studio, I'm going to say goodbye to you all now. I hope that you enjoyed my June favourites. Let me know in the comments below if there's anything that's particularly inspired you or anything that you think that you might purchase yourself. Also let me know what your current favourite items are. Is there anything I should check out? Any particular paint colours or materials that you're really loving at the moment and you want to let everyone know about in the comments? If you do, just leave a comment below. I'll also list all of the items mentioned in this video in the description box below, so check there if you need to know the details of anything. Thank you all for watching. I'll be back soon with another video. And in the meantime, stay safe, stay happy, and stay creative.